All right, so in the last lecture, we started off on the first report, looking at our audience, really understanding our buyer persona, and I'm going to mark this off complete now. I have taken a little bit of time to add in those insights really here. So just to recap, it was males between these age groups, the guys from 35 to 44 converting a little bit better than expected. A lot of people just first-time visitors, so we'll try to get people back and think about strategies about how I can do that. What are their interests? Really interested in employment in business technology and marketing services. All right, so in this lecture now, we are really looking at the geo report. This is language and location. So to find this, we are still in our audience tab, and if you haven't accessed it, here it is again, audience. Then you can come into geo, and we can really come into language first, which we can look at, and then location. And the questions that we're going to ask ourselves are here in the insights tab. The questions are really, what are the primary markets in terms of number of visits, sessions, and do you have any locations which have an above average conversion rate? So same questions really, again, same type of questions really. We're looking at the perspective of visitors, who is just coming to our site, and then also the perspective of conversion, who is actually completing our goals and actions on our site, because these are the most important visitors we want to focus on. We want to focus on those people who are actually converting, who are signing up to our mailing list or whatever your goal is, because those are the people that will grow your business, not just the visitors to your site. Now, with that said, let us come into Google Analytics. We're coming down to audience location and or audience geo, and we're looking at language here. So no big surprise for me here. We have English as the number one language, and because all of my content and material is in English, no surprise to see that. Now they do break it down: English US, English Great Britain, English Australia, but it's really all the same, and you can see that that makes up maybe 83% of my visitors. They have their kind of language set in Google as English. Spanish, good to see those guys in there. French, Portuguese from Brazil, German, DE, HR, not sure what HR stands for. DE, I think that's from German, from Germany. AOR, might have to have a look into that. Let's see if I open these up, if that says it there. So there's a kind of very small percentage for me, but interesting to see those. Really just confirming again that my buyer persona is English speaking, he's male, he's between those age brackets, and he's interested in getting a job in marketing services and business technology. Okay, so we're still building again, picking up more data, getting more insights, and now let's move on to location. This can be a real eye-opener, so let's have a look at it here now. The questions that we really want to ask ourselves are really, what are the primary markets in terms of visitors? Now, as everybody's English, I kind of already have a sense of this. Maybe the US, Great Britain, Australia. And then, do we have any locations which have an above average conversion rate? So let us look at the primary markets in terms of visitors. What I'm seeing here is a list of the countries. You can see that this list is organized in terms of sessions. These sessions are really just the number of visits to your website. They're kind of two terms you can use that mean the same thing. And you can see this little arrow here shows that this list is organized by the number of sessions from top to bottom. So most of the sessions, 29% are coming from the US, then India, then UK, all the way down to Mexico here. Now, what I can do is maybe expand these. I'm just seeing 10 rows here. So I can extend this maybe all the way down to 100. And let's see some of the countries where people have come into this site on. So Nigeria, South Africa, Bangladesh, Serbia, Morocco, Turkey, Taiwan. 23 from Taiwan. I didn't expect that. Poland, Ukraine, France, Sweden, Nepal. A huge amount of countries down here. This is actually mind-blowing to see that so many people from around the world have come into the site. Now let's see if there's anyone just from one. Brunei, Bosnia, Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, a huge amount of countries. It's really amazing to see that. Now, because I have a business, it's an complete digital marketing course, it's an online course, there's going to be people from all over the world. But your business may be very, very different. You might have just one country that you're really focusing on, or you might want to break it down into even further. So you can see it on a city level here as well. And you can really see the cities that people are coming from. So if you're focused on one country, you can just come into the cities. And what this information is very useful for is not only maybe if you wanted to advertise in certain countries, like run your Google AdWords, you could really come in and see which countries are most of the visitors coming from. If you wanted to do advertisements on radio, print, etc., you would know the cities that people are coming in. If you have a local business, you could say, well, a lot of people are coming in from this city here. We're not based there. Maybe we should be going there. If you have an e-commerce business, you could be seeing a lot of people are coming in and looking at our site from, say, Singapore. Oh, we don't deliver to Singapore. Maybe that's a reason a lot of those visitors from Singapore aren't completing the purchase. Maybe we could extend our free shipping to Canada, and we could really get those visitors to convert and make more sales. So this location information can really help build your buyer persona, but also it helps fuel real world decisions, promotions that you can do, advertisements, and also ways that you can make your customers maybe in other markets buy more by extending support there, having stuff translated into local languages, all of that type of information. So coming back to our questions here to keep us on track, what are your primary markets in terms of visitors? So for me, it's going to be, I'm just going to pick the top 5 here. You can see really US is the big focus for me. Now, let us look at, do you have any locations which have an above average conversion rate? The way that we can see that is really by coming over here, and we can maybe organize this list instead of just number of sessions in terms of the percentage conversion rate. So let's look at it here. Actually, the better way to this is come into email signups, and we can see here that the list of number of email signups, so 395 email signups, that's the goal I've set for my site. Now your goal could be different, it could be actual sales, etc. But I can see a lot of signups from the US. I think this pretty much mirrors exactly the number of visitors. So good to see that that is converting there, and I can see the percentage of signups here as well. So the US, a lot of people signing up there, less so for India and the UK. Australia, a lot of guys signing up there. Singapore seems pretty good. So in terms of actual numbers, US is top, then India, then UK. But in terms of converting, definitely Australia and Canada seems to be performing very well. Now as you move down, let's see, Turkey, surprisingly 40% of people signed up to the mailing list, which is interesting to see. Sri Lanka, 50%. But you can see that it's really the big numbers that you want to be focusing on. But interesting to see that maybe India and UK didn't sign up as much as Australia. And so maybe when I think about my buyer persona and the guys there, maybe these are markets that I want to focus on again in terms of advertising, promotions, linking up with blogs and companies that are based in those countries so I can leverage their networks in those countries to promote my business. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of time to note this information down, what I've picked up, the insights that I've picked up here by looking at these reports. And then coming back to our checklist here, in the next lecture, we're going to look at the technology reports. There can be a couple of quick fixes that you can make here, things that are maybe blocking sales. So I'll show you how to find that information to pull those insights out in the next lecture.